Hey everyone, I just want to show you the new, new to me, 2013 Equinox that I just picked up. It's so sad that they have the 2.4 liters are essentially defective engines that have multiple problems, and they haven't really built the parts to make them better. So I got this with an unknown engine problem, wouldn't start on a car sale site, and yeah, I tried to start it, didn't have any luck. I read the codes, had some codes, cleared them, brought it up again, or tried to start it, tried to see what codes, if there were any codes that popped up, because there are known wiring issues, specifically back here. I guess there's a chafing issue that can happen on different models and stuff, but essentially this comes too close to where the top cover is. There's you'll have the one stud bolt where the top cover attaches to, but apparently it can rub on there or against one of the other bolts and expose the wires and cause a CAN bus issue, where you get faults for that. And I just saw that because of the other faults I was having. But and there was things about the ECM having some issues. Those were more or less what people found, more than a TSB or something. But yeah, I charged the battery. It was actually almost dead when I got it. I actually charged it for like 8 hours, and I don't have, it's only 12.4 amp charging, so whatever, 13 volts or something. So I mean, not super fast charging, but charge fast enough where most of my cars only take like an hour before they start dropping, the amperage starts dropping. So anyway, this was pretty low, pretty good battery though. Anyway, so what I found, let's see, so after that, so it was still cranking when it had a low battery. Typically that won't happen. You'll get the click to let you know that your battery's low, where it basically just won't start, which means it wasn't building compression. So I did a leak down test because I don't have a compression tester at the moment, and 2 of the cylinders were good. Actually they were good because I didn't rotate the engine at all to find out the other ones. I just wanted to make sure they weren't all bad or whatever. So I did that, and I'm like, alright. And I did hear, so I'm not used to these engines, hearing them start up, so I wasn't 100% sure, but it did sound like there was some almost knocking when I was trying to start it. Some metal on metal slapping. So I was wondering, maybe, I saw some stuff on the timing chains, so I was like, well, maybe it's a timing chain issue. So I popped this valve cover off, and sure enough, I don't know if you're gonna see that. I don't have my light on. Anyway, you can kind of see, well, with the light you can see down there, and essentially it looks like the thing is broken. And so this right here doesn't have a lot of slack, and this thing, it actually looks like the plastic thing broke off of it. It doesn't appear to be there. Again, this is my first time with this engine, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but I mean, obviously you can see kind of like the wear marks where they were, or yeah. Anyway, as you can see down there, you can kind of see the other chain. Focus on that. Yeah, so anyway, there's play in that chain down there. So if you check your chains, check like all the places where it can be loose, not just the top part, because this can give you a false indication, because this doesn't really have slack in it right now. I have an inspection scope, bore scope, whatever you want to call it, and I did look in the cylinders. It doesn't appear that the pistons are damaged at all from the valves hitting it, because it is interference. They're interference valves. Just because it jumps timing doesn't mean that you hit the valve. So essentially what can happen is you basically change the timing and it'll open later, which basically means you'll have more of a gap where it's further away from the piston. So don't think that just because you have a jump chain means you have a bad engine. Because yeah, I looked in all of them and they all look fine to me. I don't know the valves though, but we'll do a compression test. Alright, so man of the day here. So when I pulled the front cover off, this fell off, which is part of the timing chain guide on the right side there. And I had suspected, like I said, I could see it looked like it was already broken from the top. But yeah, obviously that part snapped off, and yeah, a lot of issues here. So you see in there, there's still a piece wedged in there. It's not moving. Obviously I should be able to get that out, but Yeah, so like right here, what I was talking about from the top, you can get it with a screwdriver, longer screwdriver, and see if it moves or not. Obviously that's a lot of slack. I would think that the thing is all the way out, but yeah, with this much slack it could jump timing, and it did, it looks like. Hey, I just want to point out real quick, this is what I pulled for the oil pickup tube. Here's the oil pan. So I pulled that off because I was suspecting that some of the stuff, because obviously I couldn't recover it all, might have been in there. So as you see, this is the upper guide bolt, tensioner guide bolt, for the black guide. Obviously the other one doesn't have it, but anyway, so it looks like it backed out, or snapped and then backed out, and then this part also fell out and got sucked up by the oil pickup tube. This stuff also got picked up by it, so it would appear that it broke and then it stayed working for a little while. Probably made some noise because of the timing chain slapping around in there, and then eventually got sucked up in here. But the screen on it actually prevents it from going in there, so I don't know if they were having reduced flow, but I mean, the screen's not damaged, so I think they were still getting good flow, just that the chain eventually jumped and caused it to not start anymore. So there's just, because I didn't really see it in the manual, but there's 5 bolts, Torx bit, reverse Torx bit, whatever you want to call them, bolts in here. You take those off, and then you've got 2 bolts holding the oil pickup tube, and then you just kind of work it out. And then I was thinking about just getting another one, but I was able to get most of the debris out of there, so you can see a lot more of it when you actually pull it out. Let's see, yeah, all that other stuff came out of it. So I kind of blew air through the this side, and some stuff came out, but there was definitely a lot more. Like the other stuff, it had to come out to really get rid of that other stuff, because you don't want to rebuild the engine and then have a blockage. So it's better to pull it apart. I don't know, I mean, it should be fine. But as far as torque specs and stuff, they're not there, so you have to be careful. You don't want it too loose, don't want it too tight. There's small bolts going into aluminum, so just be careful. Don't over tighten them. So I just wanted to show you something real quick. So the old bolt here, which you can obviously see in this copper color, is a 9.8 grade bolt. And then this other bolt, which came with the kit, is which I thought was the AC Delco OEM kit. I'd have to double check on that, but anyway, there's nothing stamped on it. There's stuff on the side, but I see like an 8.8, not a 9.8. And as you see here with the threads, there's actually a nice girthier shank on that one than the other one. The other one started all the way to the top. So actually the original one is going to have more strength than this new one. So unless these are torqued to yield, I am going to reuse the old one here, which is, this is for the tensioner, or the the tensioner guide. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to do a compression test before I start it, just to make sure all the cylinders are good. So I did a leak down test, and the 2 center ones, so 2 and 3, they're at top dead center, which you really want them at bottom dead center to do a compression test, but they still work. These were showing like moderately leaking, which is pretty, like quite a bit, and these were good. These were showing in the green. So I don't think it bent, well, at least it didn't bend these. You know, if it's going to bend valves, it's going to bend more than one, probably, you know, enough to where you shouldn't get any good readings. So that's why I'm thinking, and aside from looking in the holes, I think we got a good cylinder here, but or good cylinders, but just to make sure they're all. Alright, so my first compression test on cylinder number 1 all the way on the left, is showing really good, over 200 and roughly 240 psi. So yeah, I'm looking really good. So as long as the rest are similar, within 15% of that, or the highest, this engine is still good then. That's awesome. Hey everyone, just wanted to show you that everything's working. As you can see, I'm driving it. I've driven it about 5,000 miles. It's working great. The only real issue afterwards I had was I had a P0014, I believe it was, for one of the intake or exhaust solenoids for the cam timing. I swapped those out, even though the people I bought it from said it was swapped out not too long ago, and well, I mean, yeah, recently. And so far, no codes or anything have come back. Yeah, The only real issue now is there's excessive oil consumption. Every 1,000 miles I'm having to put in roughly a quart, maybe a little more. So I know there's a big class action lawsuit for that. So basically, yeah, I have to watch to see what happens with that, because this is ridiculous. But other than that, I mean, it gets decent gas mileage, better than the other vehicles I have. So yeah, I'm happy with it. So a really good buy, and all it was a timing chain. And I had to do quite a bit because, I mean, to clean up the debris, but it's running and good now, and I can see this thing going past 200,000 miles pretty easily, probably 250, before I have to really look into something again. So yeah, thanks for watching.